Can you please welcome the lead actor of Parasite, Song Kang-ho. And please welcome the co-writer and the director of Parasite, Bong Joon-ho. So I'd also like to welcome Sharon Choi, who will be translating this evening. So, 177 awards from all around the world this film has received. Most recently, 2 awards last night, from Australia to Boston, from the Cannes Film Festival, where this film premiered, through to the Golden Globes, to BAFTA, and the British Independent Film Awards. I guess my first question really is, are you any good at carpentry? Because you are going to have to build a really big trophy cabinet when you get back to Korea.
아니 뭐 제작사랑 잘 나눠서 보관하고 있기 때문에 그나마 여기저기 그냥 177개라고 어떻게 그걸 세봤어? 난 몰랐어요.
So we actually split the awards with the production companies, so all the trophies are here and there right now. He didn't know there were 177 awards at this point. How did you find out about that?
It's going to be a very heavy flight going back to Korea with all those. The reason I say all those awards, and it's not just the fact that audiences have adored this film, but critics as well. I'm just curious from both of you. It is a fantastic film, but how surprised have you been by the way that audiences all around the world have reacted to this film?
최근 들어 자주 받는 질문이라서 저도 자꾸 생각해 보게 되는데 사실 모르겠어요. 왜 이런 사태가 벌어지고 있는지. 그리고 근데 열심히 찍은 건 사실이에요. 뭐 배우분들이나 스태프나 저나 후회 없이 찍은 건 사실이지만 영화가 우리 손을 떠난 후부터는 사실 모르잖아요. 근데 뭐 내가 물어보고 싶어.
So we've actually been receiving that question a lot in the past couple of days, so I've been giving it a lot of thought, and I'm not sure why Parasite has become such a phenomenon. It's true that we put in a lot of effort into this project, and I have no regrets of this film, but you never know what happens to a film when it leaves your hands. I would actually like to ask you what you think.
So what's going on? What's the reason, do you think?
Actor Song, if you
글쎄요, 늘 이제 봐왔던 어떤 영화의 어떤 장식이랄까 양식이랄까 이런 것들이 좀 많이 이렇게 좀 파괴되는 어떤 느낌 이런 것들이 되게 신선하게 받아들이시지 않았나 이런 생각이 듭니다.
I think a lot of people in the audience were surprised at how Parasite destroys a lot of the conventional frameworks that surround a film.
Well, one thing that I think is very interesting, if we look back to the genesis of the film, this is something that began as an idea quite some time ago. But we look at the themes of the disparity between rich and poor, and obviously this has existed for a long time. But more recently, we're looking back to 2008 and the economic crisis. So this has been a lengthy period. But I'm just curious about the genesis, because I know at one point in time that this may have been a stage play that someone approached you about. So can you talk about that, about how it?
그 2013년에 이제 설국열차 후반 작업할 때 처음 발상을 했던 건데 설국열차도 뭐 앞칸의 부자, 뒷칸의 테일 섹션에 이제 가난한 뭐 이렇게 나눠진 거였죠. 근데 이제 이거를 이제 기차가 아니라 집 2개, 부잣집 가난한 집 2개에서 한번 이런 이야기를 풀어볼까 하다 보니까 공간이 딱 2개니까 왠지 연극으로 해도 되지 않을까 이런 생각을 잠깐 했었던 건 사실이죠.
So I came up with the idea for this film in 2013 when I was working on the post-production of Snowpiercer, and that film is also about class disparity with the rich in the front cars and the poor in the tail section. But instead of talking about that theme in a running train, I thought to portray the story in two houses, one rich and one poor. And because the space is limited to only two houses, I briefly thought of making it a theater production.
근데 이제 막상 스토리를 이제 써보니까 이제 첫 줄부터 이미 저는 카메라 위치는 여기여야 돼, 뭐 화면 사이즈는 이런 사이즈. 그러니까 처음부터 이제 이미 카메라에 사로잡혀 있어서 역시 나는 연극은 불가능하구나라는 걸 깨닫고 이제 영화로 준비를 했던 거고. 네.
But ever since I started writing the first line of this story, I was thinking about the camera position and the frame size. I was just captivated by this existence of the camera. So I realized that I would never be able to do a theater production and just moved on to writing a film script.
And yesterday in the BAFTA ceremony, I met the great master Ken Loach. For example, he also 그분도 뭐 몇십 년간 이런 주제를 다뤄온 거고 사실 워킹 클래스에 대해서도 그렇고. 또 뭐 아까 얘기한 설국열차도 1980년대 그래픽 노블이거든요. 프랑스. 그러니까 이 부와 가난 또 자본주의에 관한 이 테마는 사실 너무나 우리 시대의 그냥 영원한 테마인 것 같아요.
Ken Loach is a filmmaker who's dealt with class disparity and the working class for decades in his films. And Snowpiercer is also based on a French graphic novel that was published in the 80s. So this issue of the rich and poor and capitalism has forever been embedded in our current discourse.
And also, from personal experience, when you were younger, I believe you had a job that was similar to one of the roles in the film.
그 과외 얘기하는 거. 아니 과외를 했었어요. 나도 대학교 때. 그 아르바이트 많이 하잖아요.
I did work as a tutor when I was in college. It's a common part-time job to have.
엄청난 부잣집에.
I taught for a very, very rich family.
근데 뭐 사람을 죽이거나 그런 건 아니고 제가.
I definitely didn't kill anyone.
사람은 이분이 죽였지.
He's the one who killed. So.
근데 그 뭐 약간 연관돼 있죠. 약간의 연관이 돼 있는데 뭐 그 당시 저의 이제 여자친구가 거기서 과외를 하고 있었고 이미 그 다음에 저를 그 집에 소개시켜줘서 저도 또 과외를 했고 또 저도 그 같은 또 아는 친구를 그 집에 또 소개시키려 했으나 거기까지는 진도가 못 나갔어요. 이제 제가 2달 만에 해고됐기 때문에.
So it is slightly based on my personal experience because my girlfriend at the time was actually working as a tutor for that family, and she introduced me into tutoring the same boy. And I also planned to introduce another friend as his tutor, but we couldn't proceed with that plan because I was fired after 2 months.
You see, at this point, I would like evidence that that family is still alive.
아직 살아있다는 증거를
모르겠어요. 어떻게 살고 있는지.
I have no idea how they're living their lives right now.
Actor Song, the relationship, the working relationship that you have with director Bong is one of the richest in contemporary cinema. And I'm just curious about your reaction, because I know you were told about this story quite early on, your reaction to the screenplay and playing the role of Kim Ki-tae.
저는 평소에 뭐 한 20년 됐죠. 우리가 작업을 한 지가. 참 이런 표현을 하고 싶어요. 아주 음흉한 천재 감독이라는 표현을 하고 싶은데 그 음흉한이라는 단어 속에는 너무너무 하여튼 복잡하고 괴이하면서도 또 놀라운 어떤 세계가 있다라는 것이 늘 이렇게 배우로서 굉장히 흥분되는 지점이었던 것 같습니다. 예.
So Director Bong and I have been working together for the past 20 years, and I would like to call him the mischievous genius. And within mischief, there is a lot of complexity, a lot of absurdity, and he has a very surprising universe of his own. And as an actor, that has always excited me about working with Director Bong.
It's very interesting. I read, I think it was an American article, an interview with you, and the journalist interviewing you found a quote about Actor Song very early on in your collaboration together, where you described him as having a fascinating voice color. I'm curious, I've never heard that phrase before. It's a beautiful description of someone.
실제 그렇잖아요. 영화에서도 그렇고 지금 말씀하실 때도 그렇고. 예.
He actually does have a fascinating voice color, even as he's talking right now and in his films as well.
그리고 직접 그 세트장에서 현장에서 일하는 감독이나 또 그 온셋 사운드 레코더라 해야 되나? 동시녹음 기사님 입장에서는 더 민감하게 딱 금방 와닿는 부분이죠. 그러니까 소리 그러니까 아주 작게 속삭여도 그 대사가 아주 정확하게 귓속까지 완전히 파고들. 그러니까 대사의 전달력이라고 해야 되나? 정말 놀라우시죠. 예.
So as a director and even the sound recorders on set all feel that way. Everyone's very sensitive to his voice because even when he whispers, you know immediately, you understand immediately the nuance of his lines and it's just embedded in your ears. He has amazing expressive strength in his voice.
짧은 하나의 단어도 아마 수만 가지로 표현해내실 수 있을 거예요. 예, 한 수만 가지의 뉘앙스로. 예.
He can express a million things with just one short word.
저는 사실 sorry. 처음에 얘기를 들었을 때는 제가 박 사장 역할인 줄 알았어요. 네.
To add, when I first heard about this story from director Bong, I thought I was going to play Mr. Park, the CEO.
제가 그 반지하로 끌려 들어가가지고 그 고생을 할 줄은 내가 상상을 못했죠.
I never imagined that I would be dragged into the bunker and go through all those struggles.
그래서 목소리 얘기하시니까 좀 중후하고 이 사장 역할로 아주
부자 목소리.
이렇게 좀 잘할 거다라는 생각이 들었는데.
Since you were talking about voice, I thought since my voice is very elegant and deep, I would play that kind of character as well. But obviously, that did not happen.
I did have an inkling that going into this film, I knew that you were both friends outside of your collaborating on film. But I wondered, at the end of the film, were you still friends?
촬영을 마치고 나면 두 분이 계속 친하게 지내시는지.
아니요, 그 평소 때는 그렇게 얘기를 많이 하는 사이는 아닌 것 같아요. 예.
Actually, we don't really have a lot of conversations in our daily life.
그리고 또 세트장 촬영 현장에서도 또 그렇게 별로 얘기 안 해요.
And also on set, we hardly talk.
뭐라는 거지 우리가?
그래서 저는 봉준호 감독의 어떤 심리적인 어떤 상황을 어떻게 보고 판단을 하냐면은 몸무게의 어떤 몸이 어떤 형태를 지니고 있나. 그러니까 스트레스를 굉장히 받으면 받을수록 몸이 점점 불어나가지고 그때는 조심해야겠구나. 상당히 기분 좋을 때는 몸이 점점 줄어들어요. 예. 그래서 몸 상태를 보고 대화보다는 몸 상태를 보고 이렇게 판단을 하고.
So I always know director's mental well-being through his physical figure. When he's really stressed, he tends to become a little larger, and I know to be a little careful around him. When he's having a good day, he gets a little slender. So rather than having conversations, I understand how he's doing just by looking at him.
Well, this is getting quite personal.
굉장히 개인적인 얘기.
Just Actor Song, I want to stay with you just about the challenges of the film. Because one of the things a lot of people might not realize is the flood that we see. That's not on a normal street. Could you talk about the challenges that you and all your colleagues, the rest of the cast, had with this?
그러니까 사실 이제 여러분들 보셔서 아시겠지만 이제 상당히 좀 뭐 물이 차갑고 뭐 이렇게 뭐 위험하고 이런 거는 큰 어려움이 없었는데 이게 아무래도 이제 막 어떤 진흙의 어떤 색깔 그리고 집안에 이제 물이 차니까 어떤 심리적인 어떤 표현들 이런 것들이 이제 좀 어려웠던 것 같습니다. 예.
So the actual physical conditions of shooting in the water weren't that difficult, the coldness or, how dangerous water could be. It was actually just being in the sewage water and witnessing your home fill up in water and making sure that comes across emotionally. That was the challenge of shooting that sequence.
사실상 이제 부연하자면은 그게 커다란 이제 워터 탱크에 이제 반지하 집과 전체 동네를 다 우리가 세트로 만든 거거든요. 그렇게 해야 우리가 정교하게 물의 높이나 이 모든 걸 컨트롤할 수 있기 때문에 이제 그 상태에서 이제 미리 준비를 되게 세밀하게 해서 이제 스페셜 이펙트 팀하고도 준비를 되게 섬세하게 해서 이제 촬영이 들어간 거긴 한데. 예.
So to add, that entire neighborhood and the semi-basement home were built in a giant water tank, and we prepared meticulously for that sequence because we had to be able to control the height of the water as well. And so we worked with the special effects team to pay attention to every detail for that sequence.
근데 이제 그럼에도 불구하고 이제 마지막 뒷부분에 이제 그 씬의 뒷부분에 이제 이 기택 이제 강호 선배가 그 짐 뭐 물건 몇 개를 챙겨서 이렇게 빠져나오는 그 장면은 물이 거의 여기까지 와 있거든요. 그래서 물과 이 천장 사이의 공간이 되게 작아요. 그러니까 이게 물이 정말 높이 이제 그 물 높이는 물론 우리가 컨트롤하고 있지만 실제로 거기 이제 저도 들어가 있었는데 실제 그 상황 자체 되게 좀 공포스러워요. 그래서 근데 오히려 그 장면에서 되게 그 강호 선배 그 표정이나 이런 걸 보면 되게 어떤 저도 그 표정 얼굴 때문에 되게 울컥했었는데 그 찍는 현장에서 되게 약간 무시무시한 상황이지만 거기서 어떻게 보면 엄청나게 또 섬세한 표현을 하신 것 같은 그런 느낌. 예.
Particularly at the end of that sequence, you have Ki-taek trying to leave the house with a couple belongings in his arms, and the water is right up to his chin, and there's hardly any space between the water and the ceiling. And I was there in the water shooting. Although we were controlling the height of the water, it was quite fearful to actually be there and watch the water come up. But nonetheless, he managed to portray all the emotions on his face. And there were such delicate expressions that he had shooting in that horrific sequence. And watching that on set, I actually teared up as well.
To look at all of your films, going back to your first film, Barking Dogs Never Bite, which is set in an apartment block, and we have these never-ending corridors, and as is the case with a Bong Joon-ho film, a really great basement. There is this engagement with claustrophobia in your films, long corridors, basements, places that feel uncomfortable to us. If you could talk a little bit about both the locations in this film, because they are fascinating the way that you film them.
뭐 말씀하신 대로 설국열차처럼 이제 그 2시간 내내 기차에 갇혀 있다가 마지막에서야 탈출하는 영화고, 또 뭐 프란다스에게나 또 저의 단편 영화에서나 항상 지하실이 또 괴물에서도 그렇고 괴물에서는 하수구. 왜 이렇게 제가 지하 공간을 좋아하는지는 잘 모르겠는데 특히 이번 기생충에서는 이제 영화의 90%가 집 2개에서 다 벌어지니까 이런 뭔가 실내극, 어찌 보면 실내극이죠. 정말 폐쇄된 실내 공간을 미친 듯이 마음껏 찍어볼 기회이긴 했죠.
So, with Snowpiercer as well, it's basically about these characters who are trapped in a train for 2 hours and finally escape. With Barking Dogs Never Bite and my short films as well, they all have basements, and in the hosts you have the entire plumbing sewage system. I don't know why I love basements that much, but with Parasite, because 90% of the story happens in these two houses, it's truly a movie that takes place in interior spaces and a lot of enclosed and suffocating spaces, and it was sort of my opportunity to truly explore that sense of claustrophobia.
그래서 특히 부잣집에서 한 영화의 60% 이상이 벌어지고 거기에 또 많은 비밀과 레이어들이 있잖아요. 그래서 이 부잣집의 공간을 내가 완벽하게 해부해서 이제 관객들을 관객들을 빨아들이지 못하면 이 영화는 도저히 실패다. 그래서 이 공간을 어떻게 분해해서 관객들한테 제시할 건지. 그리고 이제 영화의 이제 퍼스트 하프를 그러니까 그 전반부 절반을 보면은 뭐 인물이 소개되고 뭐 이들이 하나씩 일거리를 찾아서 침투하고 이런 과정이지만 표면상 사실은 보면 그 부잣집 전체 공간을 계속 교육시키고 있는 거거든요. 관객들한테. 그러니까 이 부잣집의 3차원적인 이 지오그래피를 다 습득을 해야 그 다음에 이제 나머지 후반 세컨 하프에서 이제 같이 저랑 관객들이 같이 이렇게 폭주를 할 수 있는 거기 때문에 그 부분을 이제 스토리보드 할 때 되게 면밀하게 좀 준비를 했었어요. 어떻게 관객들한테 이 부잣집의 모든 공간과 위치 관계를 이제 설득 이제 주입시킬 것인가 나쁘게 표현하면.
Particularly with the rich house, 60% of the narrative happens in that place, and it also contains a lot of secrets and layers. So I knew that if I don't completely dissect the space of the rich house and captivate the audience within that space, this film would be a failure. So I had to put in a lot of thought on how I could separate those spaces and introduce them to the audience. So if you look at the first half of the film, on the surface, it looks like the film is introducing you to all the characters, and you're being shown. You see the infiltration process of this family as they find employment one by one. But actually, the audience is being educated on the space of the rich house because they need to have a full understanding of the three-dimensional geography of that house in order to, rage with the characters in the second half of the film. So that's something that I put in a lot of attention during the storyboarding process. I had to think a lot about how I can establish the spatial relationship between the various spaces that exist within the house and instill that geography into the audience's mind.
But that three-dimensionality is fascinating because it doesn't just extend to the geography of the two spaces that you have, it extends to the characters themselves. We get to the halfway point and we feel we have this Manichean black and white world of the poor good people and the bad rich people. Perhaps some people may see it that way, and suddenly everything is thrown into the mix. And you compare it to the difference of, say, Snowpiercer and Okja. This is muddying the waters in terms of morality, that it's not quite so clear-cut.
뭐 모든 인물들이 다 그레이 존에 있죠. 사실상 그러니까 뭐 누가 영웅인지 누가 악당인지 구분하기가 좀 애매해요. 물론 이 가난한 이제 강호 선배 이 가족들이 물론 나쁜 짓을 저지른데 또 이들을 100% 미워하긴 또 쉽지 않죠. 그리고 부자들도 약간 혐오스럽고 꼴보기 싫은 말들을 하긴 하지만 또 나쁜 짓을 한 건 없거든요. 또 멀쩡한 사람들이고 이 부자들도. 그래서 그렇기 때문에 아마 이 영화가 더 스토리의 전개가 예측하기 힘든 부분이 있고 그게 영화가 말하고자 하는 주제와도 직결되는 것 같아요. 그러니까 뚜렷하게 선악 구분을 하기가 쉽지 않다는 것이 그게 지금 우리 사는 시대가 이만큼 복잡하고 이해하기 힘들다라는 느낌을 전달하고 싶었거든요.
So all characters in this film are in a gray zone. It's quite ambiguous to tell who's the hero and who's the villain. If you look at the poor family, they do commit bad things, but it's impossible to just completely hate them. And with the rich family, you see them being distasteful and showing disdain to other people, but it's not necessarily them doing bad things as well. And I think that's what makes this narrative so unpredictable, and it's very directly tied to the theme of this film, which is that it's not easy to divide good versus evil. In reality, reality is actually much more complex and difficult to understand and grasp.
Just in terms of the way that the tone of the film shifts, is this something that you know instantly on the page? That you know that this scene is going to play for humor, you know that tension is going to increase in this scene? Or is this something that you start to realize as you're filming or perhaps in between as you're rehearsing?
아니 쓸 때도 뭐 여기부터는 웃긴 거야, 뭐 여기부터는 호러야, 뭐 이런 구분을 전혀 하고 쓰지 않고요. 그리고 뭐 배우분들이랑 얘기할 때도 뭐 이 씬부터는 이런 분위기 아니겠어요?라고 제가 뭐 얘기하는 적도 없고 배우분들도 그렇지 않나요? 그런 거 갖고 고민한 적이 없는 것 같은데.
뭐 이상한 영화를 하도 많이 찍어가지고. 하도 이상한 그 진행을 많이 하니까 당연하다고 저는 생각하고 그냥.
So with Director Bong, when I write a script, it's not as if I separate sections into comedy and horror, and I don't really talk about that with the actors as well. I never tell them that from this scene on, it's going to be this sort of genre, so you should change your performance to a certain way. And Song added that Director Bong has always created such strange films, so this strange narrative hasn't been any different for him. It's just been a very natural process.
그냥 그 상황 또는 뭐 그 순간이 그냥 실제 펼쳐진다고 생각하고 찍거든요. 그러니까 이게 어떤 매 순간 이게 장르를 의식하거나 뭐 그러지는 딱 한 번 장르를 노골적으로 의식했던 건 이제 괴물 도입부에서 그 영화 시작한 지 13분 만에 괴물이 햇불 아래 모습을 드러낼 때 그때는 좀 그 몬스터 장르의 컨벤션을 의식하고 그걸 깨려고 이렇게 일부러 초반에 괴물을 다 보여주는 그게 유일하게 한 번 좀 의식했던 경우고 그 기생충 같은 경우는 별 장르를 의식한 적은 없었어요.
Whenever I'm shooting with any situation or moment, I always shoot with the thought that they're just happening in front of me, that it's reality. I'm never really aware of genre or tone during my process. Only once there was a time when I was aware of these conventions, which is for the opening of The Host, where 13 minutes into the film, you see the monster in its entirety under broad daylight. And that was intentional so that I could break the conventions of the monster genre, but anywhere else, and with Parasite, I'm never really aware of these genre conventions.
It's interesting you mentioned that start of A Host because that opening section is incredibly funny, and you see such a brilliant snapshot of a family, and you get the characters of each member of that family. But it was interesting going in to see that film and not really knowing what it was, but still getting this sense of something's not quite right. And I know you're a huge fan, and I've had the pleasure of chatting with you, talking about Hitchcock. And to me, to watch your films is to think of the comment he made when he said, "There's no terror in the bang, only in the anticipation of it." It is something that you seem to embrace so much with each of your films. This idea of building up tension. Is that not something in the writing process that you just engage with it in a certain way to build up tension?
예, 그 영화에 표현되는 이제 인간의 여러 가지 감정들, 뭐 그러니까 기쁨, 슬픔, 또 뭐 행복함, 뭐 여러 가지 감정이 있다면 제가 제일 제 스스로 제 개인적으로 제일 잘 표현할 수 있다고 늘 자신하는 게 이제 공포감과 불안감이에요.
So of all the many emotions that you can express through cinema, joy, sadness, happiness, the emotion that I'm most confident that I can express the best is fear and anxiety.
제가 정신과적인 문제도 좀 있고 상담도 많이 받고 해서 그 부분은 되게 자신 있어요. 그래서 그 히치콕의 영화들에서도 보여주는 되게 과장하지 않으면서도 보이지 않게 흐르는 긴장감이라든가 뭐 우리가 그걸 그냥 서스펜스라고 부를 수도 있고 그런 것들은 정말 많은 영감을 주고요. 예.
So I have some issues on my own. I have a therapist, so I'm very confident about portraying these fear and anxiety. And with Hitchcock's films as well, you always have that tension that's invisible, but and also never exaggerated. A lot of people call that suspense, and that has always been a huge inspiration for me.
그리고 히치콕이 했던 가장 유명한 말들 중에 이제 그거 있잖아요. 그 어둡고 음습한 뒷골목에서 벌어지는 살인 사건보다 오히려 대낮에 쨍한 햇살 아래서 벌어지는 살인 사건이 그게 더 영화적으로 우리를 흥분시킬 수 있다라는 말을 이제 어렸을 때 책에서 봤는데 그걸 그대로 적용한 게 이제 살인의 추억 도입부랑 괴물 그 오프닝에 그 햇빛 아래 이제 괴물 나올 때죠. 네.
And there's also another famous quote by Hitchcock where he said, "A murder that happens under broad daylight gives you much more cinematic excitement than a murder that happens in a dark alleyway." That's something that I read when I was little, and I applied that quote into the opening of Memories of Murder and The Host.
So unfortunately, we are going to have to close to people around the country. Thank you very much to our guests this evening.